one of the epiphanies I had.
Yeah.
You know, playing college football and things of that nature. So when I got hurt, I came back to Atlanta. You know, I was down bad. You know, just morale and things of that nature. I actually went home, and my mother was like, "Man, you need to get out the house. You need to get out the house." So I went to the grocery store with her. Long story short, we came out the grocery store and we had the bootleg man here in Atlanta. You know, he's selling like 5 DVDs for $20 and everything. So I was like, okay, man, I might as well give me a DVD. So I picked like 5 DVDs and he kept pushing me to get this one DVD. I'm like, I ain't really interested in that. He was like, you know what I'm gonna do, young brother? I'll give it to you for free.
Wow.
Give it to you for free. Long story short, fast forward 2 weeks later, I put it in. It happened to be Hidden Colors. So he had bootleg Hidden Colors like 1 through 3, I think it was at the time.
Wow.
And you know, that changed the whole trajectory, you know, of everything I was doing. I realized at that moment I was bigger than football. You know, football wasn't, you know, my pinnacle, was my limitation. You know, once I stepped out of that, you know, the rest was history. So Hidden Colors changed it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Love that, man. Good people, what's up, what's good, man? We are back with another edition of the 3 Milli Podcast. Blessed be your host, Caleb Smith. Man, today we're going to have a very powerful conversation, a black conversation, a real dope conversation, man, about who we are, what we got going on. Man, this is with somebody who's been killing it for a long time, young brother as well. I love what he's doing, man. He's just providing so much power, so many gems. Every single day I'm scrolling on Instagram, social media, I get that dose of just great information, great history that I always need. And this dude right here, I already know you probably seen him. Man, you probably seen him operating at Voice of the Ancestors. Man, Chase, brother Chase, how you doing?
Man, brother, I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Man, humbled by it, bro.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Voice of the Ancestors, bro. Book series, you killing it.
Right.
Multiple volumes. That's not easy. Multiple books. What inspired Chase's love for history, for knowledge?
Well, you know, growing up, my father was very into history.
Right.
But I wouldn't say he was more so into black history because he really wasn't taught that type of stuff. So I remember growing up, you know, part of our bonding time as father and son was we used to watch movies like National Treasure. Always, I was always curious by history and how, you know, that shaped the society we live in today. So, you know, that really planted that seed. You know, I was one of those students where, you know, I make a C in math, C in literature. But history, I got an A, and really didn't even have to study. It was always just one of those interesting things for me.
Right.
So when I got to college, ended up playing college football. I played at Southwest DeKalb, which is like a legendary high school.
Most definitely, bro.
Yeah, football school. Played for the legendary Coach Buck Godfrey. Shout out to Coach Buck Godfrey in the High School Hall of Fame. But ended up going to Jacksonville State in Alabama. And when I went there, that was the first time, you know, I was out on my own, you know, kind of doing my own thing. And my whole thing was dedicating my life to football, you know, because like a lot of young black boys, you know, it's this old saying that you got 1 million black kids fighting for 7 full-time jobs, which is like the NFL or something like that.
Yeah, that's
so I was one of them million kids, you know, at Jacksonville State. In my freshman year, probably about a month in, man, I got hurt, tore my ACL, blew out my knee. Never been hurt before. And that was the first time I realized, I said, okay, well, you know, this can go sideways. You know, I could be the best football player ever, but if I get hurt, I get hurt. So, you know, those were one of the epiphanies I had, you know, playing college football and things of that nature. So when I got hurt, I came back to Atlanta. You know, I was down bad, you know, just morale and things of that nature. I actually went home, and my mother was like, man, you need to get out the house. You need to get out the house. So I went to the grocery store with her. Long story short, we came out the grocery store and we had the bootleg man here in Atlanta. You know, he's selling like 5 DVDs for $20 and everything. So I was like, okay, man, I might as well give me a DVD. So I picked like 5 DVDs and he kept pushing me to get this one DVD. I'm like, I ain't really interested in that. He was like, you know what I'm going to do, young brother? I'll give it to you for free.
Wow.
Give it to you for free. Long story short, fast forward 2 weeks later, I put it in. It happened to be Hidden Colors. So he had bootleg Hidden Colors like 1 through 3, I think it was at the time.
Wow.
And you know, that changed the whole trajectory, you know, of everything I was doing. I realized at that moment I was bigger than football. You know, football wasn't, you know, my pinnacle, was my limitation. You know, once I stepped out of that, you know, the rest was history. So Hidden Colors changed it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Love that, man. Here in the South, man, everybody play ball. I play ball. All my friends, you know, hearing you, Southwest DeKalb, like what you said. Y'all was some dogs, too.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. But blowing your knee out, torn ACL, You know, you have this set vision of I'm gonna play football, but then now all that changes. What was that whole like transitionary period of Chase trying to find out who Chase is as a man?
Well, I realized playing football that I love the game, but I was more so in love with the lifestyle that came with it. You know, I think
deep.
every young black man has the idea of, you know, taking their parents out of certain situations
Facts.
and buying them a house and riding around in the Lamborghinis, and so it was more so the lifestyle that come with it. When I got hurt and started, you know, exploring things outside of football, I'm like, oh man, that's possible with other stuff. You know, that's possible
real.
if I'm good at stocks, I'm good at real estate. If I become good at these other things, and I don't have to worry about blowing out my knee trying to do that. You see what I'm saying? So it was a thing. It was really a blessing in disguise. That's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me tearing my ACL. And the funny thing is, when I tore it, it was on the last play of practice.
Wow.
Right before the game. We weren't even supposed to run that play. You know, somebody had messed up, and coach said run it back. And I ran it back, and that's when I tore out my knee. So, man, I think it was a blessing in disguise.
Man.
And it was, you know, an incredible opportunity. You know, without getting hurt, I wouldn't be here today.
Man, that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Hidden colors, bro. You wasn't even supposed to see it. And again, that's how you know the ancestors had to be working, right?
Exactly.
You saw that legendary docuseries. While watching this, right? What was just going through your mind?
This is lies. There's no way.
All that anger started settling in.
Yeah, it's no way, because I'm somebody, you know, I'm born and raised in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I grew up black elementary school, RBJ Harris. Shout out to RBJ Harris, traditional theme school, one of the best theme schools in Georgia. Went to Chapel Hill Middle School.
Yes,
I went to black schools my whole life.
Yeah.
So as a black person, I'm like, I'm supposed to know this type of stuff. It wasn't like I grew up and went to prep schools and white schools, and you know,
you was in a black city.
Right, I was in a black city. So I'm like, nah, this is not true. So I'm the type of person, every time I saw stuff, it took me, the first Hidden Colors, it probably took me 3 weeks to watch it.
Wow.
Because every time I heard something, I paused it and went to go look it up.
That's beautiful.
Because I'm like, man, I ain't finna waste my time. This dude lying. He gotta be lying. You know what I'm saying? So I looked up the Moors. I started looking up Kemet, because psychologically, I didn't even realize that I started believing the Kemites were white people.
Wow.
Because just from seeing it, you know, watching the History Channel, when they bring up Egypt, bring up white or Arab looking people.
Yeah.
So psychologically, that's the picture you have of the Egyptians.
Yeah.
So I just remember, you know, going back and doing all that research, and it was shocking. And so, you know, I went through a lot of phases, like, you know, that first anger phase, like we talked about. You angry at the world, like, man, I'm doing all this stuff. Even the way I was thinking back on certain interactions I was having at school with white people. Because I went to a PWI to play football at Jacksonville State, and just certain things that they would say that I didn't pick up on was like, man, I had a little racial
microaggressions.
Right,
yeah,
microaggressions
that's a real thing.
to it, you know, but I never picked up on it. So it was one of them things where it was like, okay, you know, now that I got this knowledge, what am I gonna do with it? So, you know, I had remember just sitting down saying, okay, how am I gonna take this to the next level? Because I was trying to tell my friends, but you know, they ain't listening like
Can't
that.
save
You know
everybody, bro.
So I was like, you know what? Let me publish a book. Let me publish a work. Let me take the information that I learned over the years. So from 2014, really to 2016, all I did was study. So I learned about Dr. Ben. I learned about Professor Smalls. I learned about Dr. Kaba and the Moors, different things. So I was reading books. Ivan Van Sertima, all those type of books. And just studying and saying, okay, how can I take their works to the next level, you know, to be the one that carried that baton. And, you know, that's how you got the Voice of the Ancestors series.
Killing it, bro.
Absolutely.
Voice of the Ancestors series. Yeah, and always just having like a concept, writing it out, seeing it just come to life. What was that whole experience like of basically starting from page 1 all the way through?
Well, you know, that's where it was magical, but my football days helped me. When I was playing football at Southwest, I was never the number 1 recruit.
Wow.
Was never the top dog. Didn't start until my senior year. Had to wait my turn.
Wow.
But I learned staying consistent. I learned that from seeing my father go to work every day. My father's not a man of many words, but he goes to work every day. My mom ain't had to work in 25 years.
Wow.
You know, so he goes to work. Just seeing that consistency.
Right.
So that's the same mentality I took into it writing a book. I wrote the Voice of the Ancestors book series on notebook paper.
Wow.
The whole series on notebook paper.
Wow.
Just day after day, one paragraph at a time. So seeing that thing come into fruition, like,
hey, you broke it down.
Yeah, I wrote it down, literally.
Yeah.
Then after I wrote it down, I had to type it all up. It took me like another year to type it up because I'm a real slow typer. So, you know, just seeing all that come into fruition, you know, it's like, okay, I took that same mentality I had in football and now I put it into something constructive that can impact the world. So, man, it was a magical feeling, you know, when it first dropped. So Absolutely.
I love that, man. Being young, talking about our history. You got
Right.
an old soul.
Yeah.
I love that, man. How important, man, is it for our age group to talk about history, know history? Just like talk about it on
Man,
a regular basis.
man, brother, it's very important because our age group, we're that warrior class.
Mm-hmm.
We're the class that gets things going, man. When you look at the civil rights movement in the 60s, that was
Yeah,
teenagers. A lot of us
that's a
forget.
fact.
Even
Yeah.
Malcolm and Martin, I don't think they were in their 40s when
Mm-mm.
they
Nope.
transitioned.
Nope.
They were very young souls,
Yeah.
and a lot of times we look back at it and we think it was the elders. No, many times it was the young brothers and sisters who were active. And just throughout history, man, you go back and look at people like Hannibal, who conquered Rome. He was like 26.
Ain't that crazy to think
That's
about?
crazy. I'm older than him now when he conquered, considered the greatest empire of their day.
Wow.
So as the younger generation, it's very important to tap in early. And other communities understand that. The Jewish community, they teaching their babies stocks, real estate at 7 and 8, as soon as they can read and write.
That's right.
They're giving them trust funds and teaching them how things work. So that's very important for us to understand that part of the game at a young age.
Yeah, man, that's big facts, bro.
Absolutely.
Hearing you speak about the greats such as Brother Smalls, Dr. Kaba,
Right.
man, seeing you, bro. Again, I've been following you for a minute. Seeing you build with both of those amazing men. I love those, just conversations, just sitting back, hearing y'all, right? How does that feel to now know these same people who I used to study, I can now just talk to?
Man, like a kid in the candy store. Like a kid in the candy store. I told somebody the other day, talking to Baba Smalls, talking to Baba Kaba. That's like a basketball young player talking to Jordan.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? You talking to Pippen. You talking to these Magic Johnson. You talking to these legends, who were doing it literally before you were born, who helped pioneer and bring to light some of the works that you're studying now. So it's absolutely magical, man. And I just try to take what they're doing and take it to another level.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, man. It's absolutely amazing. I'm almost speechless sometimes when I talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I got a live with Baba Kaba.
That crazy? Yeah.
I watched him on the Hidden Colors sitting in my dorm room, man. Come
that
on,
crazy?
Man. Yeah, man. It's like I say, it gets you speechless.
Yeah. If Brother Chase, who's right here, right now sitting down, could speak to young Brother Chase, who just tore his ACL, what would you say to him in that moment?
Man, that's a great question.
Thank you.
You bigger than football. You bigger than football. This is the limitation of you. This is not the pinnacle. This is not the end all be all. You bigger than football. And you can use that same energy that you put into football and put into something constructive, more constructive.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to sit here and make football like it's a bad thing. You learn a lot of life lessons.
Most
through
definitely.
Football.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of work ethic through football. I figure if I can go out there in 100-degree weather and
you can do anything.
Twice my size.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's nothing to sit down here and write this book.
That's right.
It's nothing to sit down here and stand up to these white supremacists like, oh, that's nothing for me.
Yeah.
Because you learn that at a young age, fighting through obstacles, pushing through things, pushing your body to the limit.
That's true.
So it's nothing to wake up at 6, every morning to do that. Because I was waking up at 6 running run sprints. You know what I'm saying? So I would tell the young brother Chase, man, just keep pushing, keep striving, keep learning.
Yeah. I love that, man. Recently, you were out in Kemet. Love seeing that. Those were some dope reels.
Absolutely.
Amazing, man. Just seeing everything on the walls, the pyramids, the temples, all that. How was that whole experience for you overall? The whole vibe, seeing it, touching it, something that you write about, you study about, but then now like physically seeing it, touching it from those same people who all of us come from. How'd that feel for you?
I mean, I think Kemet, when you come into consciousness, everybody seems like they start with Kemet.
That's a fact.
It's your greatest of classical civilizations, man. It was magical. That was the first place I learned about, with so much history. So going there was almost surreal.
Yeah.
It almost looked like a painting to a certain degree. Like, God, it's not real until I got up there and I actually touched the pyramids. You can read and they say, oh, it's 481 feet high but it's different when you see it in person.
Wow.
It's like, man, this is incredible. Like, how would we build this today?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine somebody building this 5,000 years ago. How
crazy?
would we build this today? Yeah. So it was just a different experience, man. I didn't sleep a lot on that Kemet trip, but I still felt energized.
Wow.
So it was, like I say, it was magical at the end of the day. Went there with 80 other black people, like-minded people. So it was a whole, vibe experience, man. It was
Like-minded people, bro.
Yeah, man. It's great when you go with like-minded people because they can give you different parts of the game. You can feed off each other. Some people, it was their first time going as well. Some people, it's like their second time, so they can let you know, hey, man, it's a gym over here. And that's the thing you learn about Kemet. A lot of people think it's just stacked up. It's in one location.
Wow.
It's all across Egypt. It's in Aswan. It's in Luxor. It's temples. It's everywhere. People, they going around the corner saying, oh, man, this is such and such tomb. It's like, oh, this not even in the, you know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
See this in the brochure, nothing like that. So it's just crazy, man. Like I say, it was one of those experiences that's life changing. And one of the big things I learned that I try to take back here is, one, Kemet was built kind of on a secret type society type thing. You know, certain temples we were going in, they were saying, hey, man, only the high priest could step foot in this room.
Wow.
And I think sometimes that's important to remember because we're in the information era, and oftentimes we want to educate all black people.
It's that access.
Some of them ain't meant to, they're not meant to get this information. They're going to do wicked things with this information. They're going to take it. They're going to retwist it. And Kemet, they understood that. So it was levels, you know, this is kind of where they get masonry from. You know, degrees of masonry. You can only get certain access to certain information at certain degrees. So seeing that in Kemet, like, hey, man, they couldn't step foot in this back room. This was only, that front room was only for the public. Okay, so we don't have to educate everybody. Everybody ain't meant to be educated. It's only meant for a certain few. And that was a big thing because I think we waste a lot of time, brother, trying to educate the miseducated who don't want to be educated.
Hey, please talk about
all.
that.
Yeah, man,
please.
Who don't want to be educated at all, man. They'll drag you down. You know, they'll get you on their low level, that low frequency, man. And that's, you know, and once you get there, man, you get all the way off track of your life mission. So that's very important. That's one thing I definitely learned there. And also, it was built off of high skilled labor. It was built off the Masons. It wasn't built off the Pharaohs. And those come and go. Those are the ones we get excited about. We get excited about King Tutbeer and all the gold. We get excited about that. But it was the Masons. It was the people who laid the bricks, who paved the roads. That was that's what Kemet was built off of. You know, so that was important to see as well.
Yeah, I love that, man. On your lives, always giving out game, chopping it up with the people. Tap in, bro, because Brother Chase, something serious. Speaking on Kemet again, you said something that was a heavy gem. Is that you would often see, you know, people, locals selling stuff, but saying this is actually you.
Right.
This is our culture.
Right.
And that y'all are actually all the people that's talked about. How important is it, man, for our people, us, to just know, like, yo, Kemet, it's about you. And it's not about these white Egyptians that you see on Moses, any of that. It's actually talking about you.
Man, it's very important because we see Kemet here. You know, and if you go to DC now, you see the layout of DC. We saw the obelisk or the technique. We saw that in Kemet. We saw the original one. We saw the what do they call that? The water of the Mural Lake. We saw all that, man. We saw the temples. We saw Abu Simbel, you know, which Lincoln Memorial. They got the idea for Lincoln Memorial about. So it's, you see that here to know that you were the inspiration for the founding fathers here.
Ain't that something?
You see what I'm saying, man? That's a crazy thing to understand. So even while we were in shackles and chains, they were still studying our history. They were repurposing our history, retwisting our history. So, man, it's definitely important to understand, man, because when you know your history, it erases the white man's mystery. So he puts everything in a very mysterious type realm where you really don't know. He's always crediting stuff for aliens and you know, all that.
You just talking about that earlier.
So that takes the mystery out of it, seeing it in person and seeing how your ancestors depicted themselves on the tombs, because it's still there. It's still there. We went in the tombs of Ramesses. You still had the black folks on the wall.
How was that?
Magical, man. Magical. And you see pictures of it, but again, it's different to see the image on the wall and then touch the image.
That's right.
Like, it's still there. This is the original color. It's still there, man. And just to see even visitors, you had some white visitors there, the Arabs, they kind of, you know, they know it's not them. You know, even when, like I say, even when they're trying to sell you stuff, they'll tell you they know that's not them. And they don't treat it with the same level of respect they would treat it if it was theirs.
That's right.
You know, they do a lot of soliciting out in front of it, a lot of, you know, scamming and different stuff like that you wouldn't do in front of something that is considered sacred.
And it's holy.
Right. Hey, they don't do that in front of their mosque over there.
Trying to get it back.
So it's more so of just a part of the economy over there to sell this idea. You know? So, that's important to understand.
That's dope, man. Here in America, you drop gems about our heritage here, which I
Right.
love because growing up, people like rarely spoke about that.
Right.
But we have more pyramids here in the Americas. Heard you drop heavy gems on that.
Right.
Heard the great Dr. Kaba drop gems on that. Ivan Van
Absolutely. He's one
Sertima,
of my
man,
teachers.
man, please just like expound on that overall, not even concept, just fact that there's more pyramids here in the Americas than it is in Africa.
Right, and that's the thing we got to understand in general, because a lot of people think when we start talking about our history here in America, we taking a shot at Africa.
That's right.
Oh man, y'all don't want to be African. No. African people were global people. You see what I'm saying? That's the original people everywhere, not just here in the Americas, but in Asia, Europe. Europe, you got the Grimaldi's.
Yeah.
Asia, you still have the Negritos of the day, the Atas, the Jawa.
Blacker than us.
Yeah, blacker than us.
Yeah.
And been there 60,000 years.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And built marvelous civilizations all over the place. When I was in Egypt, I had the honor of receiving the Dr. Ronoku Rashidi Award.
Man, congrats on that.
I
That's
appreciate
huge.
that, brother. And that was, that was an honor for me, because he opened up that whole global, aspect of you. A lot of people, when you come in, you just kind of focus on Kemet, and you don't realize all this stuff that was going on
everywhere
outside of Kemet. Right. So when I started getting into America and started talking about America, you realize that, man, our people were the original people here too. And they built marvelous things here too. They fought wars here too. And a lot of our people were reclassified, and that's a fact. That's the whole thing I believe the critical race theory is trying to cover up.
Wow.
See, when we get into critical race theory, you got to understand that Europeans, number one, came here before 1619. We're talking about the white folks. They weren't even coming in here in 16. They were coming here before that. They came before 1492. The Vikings.
Yep.
The Vikings actually got here around the 12th century.
That was Leif Erikson, right?
Yeah. They came here around the 12th century, came up to what they call Newfoundland, up there by Canada, places like that. They actually got ran out by the black people.
That's
here.
a fact.
Yeah, the Straylings, man. So they try to hide a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
1492, Columbus comes here. The same year the Moors fall in Spain.
Man,
ain't that ironic?
We were just having a conversation about that last week.
The same year. And then he takes black men with him. He takes the Nino brothers.
Yeah.
So Pedro Alonso Nino, they're the ones guiding his ships to the America. Even here, Jamestown from 1619, they specifically choose that date, 1619. I talk about this all the time because they want to ignore the failures for hundreds of years before that.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah,
think about it like
St.
that.
Augustine.
You're right.
The Roanoke colony.
You're right.
It's considered the lost colony.
Yes, sir.
These folks were failing for decades at a time, trying to do it by themselves. And it wasn't until, they started trying to enslave the native population.
Yeah.
They started bringing brothers and sisters in from West Africa and other places that they began to get a little foothold in the game. And meanwhile, this whole time, you have black Aboriginal people here, the Yamasee.
Yep.
Later, the Yuchi down south in Georgia, places like here, that eventually get pushed down. You had the big Yamasee Wars in the 1730s because of black Aboriginal people were fighting against trying to be enslaved. Because the European came with a racial caste system that we weren't used to. We used to identifying ourselves as tribes. So the European came and said, no, all y'all look the same. You one race. No, he's a different tribe. No, all of y'all are one race. You're African just like the rest of them. You're going to be on the plantation. The Yamasee War was about that. The Yamasee War was about their people being enslaved. And from the beginning of that war, what they don't tell you, in South Carolina, the Yamasee wiped out about 7% of the European population in South Carolina in the early parts of that war. It wasn't until some of the Mongoloid natives that we now attribute to being the only Native Americans, the red-skinned natives, started to flip sides and fight on the side of the Europeans. So eventually the Yamasees would, I don't want to say become extinct, will become reclassified. Some of them were put on plantations. Some of them moved down south, became the Yuchi. Later they came down south even further and became the Seminoles, which simply means the runaways. So it's important to remember that a lot of times when we call these tribes, they're not really even tribes. These are European names. So the European, all them folks by the creek, you're now Creek Indians. But these could be 100 different, you know what I'm saying? These could be 100 different tribes.
Wow.
All of your Creek Indians. The people down south, down in Florida, all of them are runaways, all of you are Seminoles.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that part of the game, man, and see the whole history holistically. And meanwhile, we're just dealing with the East Coast of the United States.
That's true.
Nobody touches the West Coast, the Midwest, before the 1800s. What's going on over here? You have explorers, Theodore Johnson, Lewis Corris, who going out to California. They're painting these black people. Who are these black people?
Wow.
The whole time they're sitting out there. You know, who are the Osage? You know, who are these other groups? Who are the Utes that were historically called the Black Indians?
Wow.
They're out in Utah.
Yep.
Where Utah gets its name.
Utah Utes.
Right. But the whole time, these people out here. So when black folks say, hey, man, some of my people ain't experienced slavery, it's some validity to that. Because they on a whole nother side of the country. Remember, the Louisiana Purchase opens up that west side of the country. Before the 1800s, Europeans or the Americans, as we would call them, they're not going to that side of the country. Wow. A lot of our history is written on the East Coast. So this is the puzzle we trying to put together, brother. It's a lot of history, a lot of missing history. Yeah, we got to really start to dive into that.
My type of talk conversation. Nah, bro. Yeah. Look, that's a good thing. Cook up, bro. Just hearing that is amazing, man. So Creek Indians, also Seminole. So, you know, knowing that you've been working with the great Tariq Nasheed on the docu-series, all of that, that's fire. Man, please just like talk about more about what was going on in Florida, you know, with the Seminoles, Maroons, all those cool things as well.
Listen, man, in Florida, the ancestors were putting hands and feet on white supremacy, man. Yeah. It's a big thing that we don't talk about now. A lot of the Underground Railroad went south. A lot of brothers and sisters, especially in early Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, even like I say, after the Yamasee War in 1730, these were brothers and sisters who started to move down south. Yeah. You know, they were trying to get to Florida because they knew in Florida, that's the home of the Seminoles, which is Spanish corruption of Cimarron, which means runaways. So, you know, they're trying to get down there to Florida because they knew they could be free in Florida. So that's very important to understand. You have several Seminole wars down there. You actually have, because of the Seminole War, you have, Jessup's Proclamation in 1838, which gives light to the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln studies that. He says during the Civil War, because remember, a lot of people don't know, the Union was getting tore up from the floor up during the early part of the Civil War. Because the South had all the Confederate schools, not Confederate schools, excuse me, the, what do you call that? The military schools. They had all the military schools. That's true. Right, in the South. Yeah. So remember, we talk about the Battle of Gettysburg, that's fought in Pennsylvania. Yeah. The South was already up north. Man. You know what I'm saying?
And that's far up north.
Right. Yeah. So Lincoln, being a fan of history, studied Jessup's Proclamation and said, okay, we need the Negroes to fight. Because they realized during the Seminole War they could never conquer the Seminoles because it was us. It was black folks. And we weren't trying to be enslaved again. Wow. So he said, okay, let me study Jessup's Proclamation. And I'm going to use that for the Emancipation Proclamation. So he said, hey, man, black folks, if y'all fight in this war, you'll have your freedom. So all that is birthed off the Seminole War. And that's important to understand as well, man. Yeah. And these were some bad brothers. The Seminoles actually went out to places like Oklahoma, went later down to Mexico, defended the Mexico border against the Apaches, these were brilliant brothers and sisters, man. Yeah. So it's important. You know, they gave game to brothers like Bash Reeves. You know, he studied
the Lone Ranger right there.
Yeah, the Lone Ranger. Who was locking up all these white criminals out west. Right. So, man, the Seminoles are very powerful, and that's a very important part of history that they try to specifically leave out.
Dang, I love that.
Absolutely.
Seminole people, Maroons as well. Yeah. Who were they? Because during this time, you know, hearing you talk about it, documentaries being made, Tariq Nasheed talking about it, who were the Maroon people?
The Maroon people, brother, were runaways. Some were Aboriginal people. Yeah. Because remember, it's important, and this is kind of the part where we get lost. The European is coming in with a racial caste system based off how you look. So anybody who looks a certain way, he just calls them African. Okay, and that's not a shot at Africa. That's not to say, I want people to understand, that's not to say the slave trade didn't exist. I'm not one of them type of dudes who's saying the slave trade never existed.
Nat Turner didn't exist.
Nat Turner and Harriet. I'm not one of them people, man. Nah, but I'm saying there's different types of black people that were here. There's indigenous black people who've been here who were the mound builders. Okay, the Aboriginal people. There's travelers and explorers. This is where our brothers come in with the Moors. You know, brothers from Morocco were traveling back and forth over here. You have Abukari II, the Mali Empire, who take 2,000 ships.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? You even have evidence in some of these mounds. I believe one is called the Davenport Stone. of ancient Kemet over here.
Wow.
You know, and certain things that they're studying. It's a great book on this called The First Americans Were Africans, Dr. David Imhotep.
Wow.
He breaks a lot of this stuff down. So it's a multitude of different types of black people over here with different cultures. And all these people get bunched together because they look the same.
Yeah.
So it's a whole bunch of different cultures that come into that play. Now, ask the question one more time. Sorry.
Yeah. Maroon people. Who were they?
Absolutely.
Were the Marines.
So the Maroon people, these were brothers and sisters who broke their shackles and chains and built their own communities throughout the United States. Again, one was in Florida, who they were controlling the whole state of Florida. And actually, the state we're in now, Georgia, becomes a part of the colonies because of fear of Florida down south. Right.
Yeah.
They actually become a colony.
Yeah.
They feared the Carolina states feared the Seminoles down south.
So Georgia had to block it.
Yeah, it's like a buffer.
Yep, that's right.
You know, so we're going to use Georgia as a buffer. Also, early on, you had a lot of early Georgia slave owners who were, you know, essentially afraid. Like, listen, man, our slaves are whooping us and running down south, and we can't do nothing about it, because we're not going to go down there.
Wow.
So, you know, you also had another one, the Great Dismal Swamps, which was a Maroon community that had been around really since the Chesapeake Rebellion in the 1700s. These were folks who were never conquered, never captured. The white supremacists knew they couldn't go in those swamps because we could deal with certain things, elements of nature, mosquitoes. That stuff didn't bother us. It bothered them.
Wow.
So, you know, like I say, man, a multitude of places in Mississippi and other parts, Alabama, just all throughout the South.
Yeah.
You had Maroon colonies, and we're not even mentioning the ones in the Caribbean, which get kind of more of the notoriety.
Facts.
The Queen Nanny, the Maroons, Suriname, Cuba, even the first people who came to Haiti in Hispaniola. These were not West Africans. These were Moors coming from Spain.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that when we're talking about Caribbean history, the first enslaved black people to come went from West Africa, but these were some of the leftovers from the Moorish Empire that happened in Spain. And as soon as they came down here, they started Maroon colonies.
Wow.
You know, it's a brother by the name of Diego de Campo. So he started Maroon colonies like 1540, 1520.
Man.
And the Europeans used to say, and right back to Spain, like, dude, it's like 8,000 of them in the mountains.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So this is, like I say, this is part of history you don't know about, that they really try to keep quiet. So we're always fighting. From the moment it happens, we're always fighting. Even 1526 here with, what's his name? Vasquez, I think it is. 1526, he comes and tries to set up a colony in what is now the border of Georgia, kind of South Carolina area. These folks within 90 days whoop him.
90 days.
Yeah, within 90 days, brother. Wow. Whoop him and send him back to Haiti and go live with the Aboriginal people who are already here. These were black people.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this for a long time, brother.
But the Chase, man, you were killing this. I love this conversation, man. Man, for real.
Trying to give as much game as possible.
Man,
to the
thank you. Growing up, Washington Redskins logo, right? Now, looking back at it, it looks just like us, right? Florida State Seminoles, like you said, Utah Utes, Cleveland Indians, red face, all that stuff, right? Why is it so hard for us to accept, you know, foundational Black Americans, us, FBA, to really know that, yo, we have just indigenous roots, and we aren't, of course, you know, all of us have African roots, but also we were already here at the same time. Why is that like so hard for us just to understand sometimes?
Well, I think coming into the conscious community, they beat up on Africa so much that you felt the need to really, really defend Africa and take pride in the African in you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you feel like you're going against it to start talking about Aboriginal history. But you got to truly understand we're a global people. We're the first people everywhere. Facts. Those people didn't disappear overnight. They got reclassified overnight. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I tell foundational Black Americans this all the time. Every foundational Black American, for the most part, your grandma tell you somebody got Indian in the family.
I was just about to say that.
We all heard that.
Yeah.
And I've been that person before. Man, grandma don't know what she's talking about. I love my grandma. Grandma know what she's talking about.
Look, she getting old.
Right.
It.
That's that. Oh, you don't want to be African.
Facts.
Now, the more information that comes out,
starts to make sense.
You starting to realize, hey, man, it's some validity to that. You see what I'm saying? There's some validity to that.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've been kind of, like I say, just doing our due diligence and really just, man, studying, trying to make sure we paint the full picture, because all of our history is important. We have a unique tie to this land as foundational Black Americans that nobody can take away. Being the original population of this continent, being the people who built the continent. There was no United States of America before we built the United States of America. So that's important to understand, man.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Foundational Black Americans.
Absolutely.
Everything that you do, again, got my full support.
Much respect.
And one thing that's my biggest pet peeve is people saying it's quote unquote divisive. It's us not trying to acknowledge Africa.
Right.
But for me, it makes complete sense because we have Jamaicans, we got Haitians, we got every other group, and that doesn't take away from their own Africanness. But then for us trying to be our own distinct group and not trying to be us claiming that.
Right.
Why do you think sometimes, even like amongst ourselves, we have people that say us being FBA is us being divisive or not trying to be Black? How do you feel about that?
I think whenever you have something different, you're going to get pushback.
That's facts.
Because it's just different. People don't know nothing about it. A lot of us side what our ancestors said. More so time we side with grandma. That's why we never challenge grandma out of respect. Grandma, we not.
You just trying to keep the peace.
She don't know what she talking about. Trying to keep the peace, and to them, you interrupting that or adding more information or kind of changing that information. That's a shell shock type thing for them, you know. So just like I say, whenever you do something new, King was hated during his time. Malcolm was hated during his time. Harvey had a lot of haters during his time. Now we can look back 100 years later and kind of be like, oh yeah, they were right. But you know, that's just part of the game, man. Whenever you introducing something new, then also as foundational Black Americans, a lot of people eat off of us. They eat off of us. They eat off the ability to. They can say that. For example, I was talking to a Haitian brother the other day. He was born here in America. His parents are from Haiti. He has the benefit of when something's going good, he can go back to Haiti if he wanted to. He has a home country to go back to.
That's a fact.
Or he can say, well, I'm Haitian. But when Black Americans are doing something new, he can also say, I'm a Black American.
Yeah.
We don't have that type of benefit.
Look, he can change jerseys.
He can change jersey. He got a jersey underneath every jersey. So when we start being specific, like, are you a foundational Black American? Or are you just somebody who's born in America? You know, now it's kind of taking away that card. Then it gets into the, man, ain't no difference but with a slave ship drop. We get into a lot of that. You know, we've been trying to say that. But, you know, when we tried to say it, it was, no, we Jamaican and we got culture and this and that. So, man, we really just, we really just identifying with our lineage. And this is really a weapon that we're using to combat white supremacy. Because for the longest, again, they've told us that whenever we want something tangible, well, we'll do it for minorities.
That could be women.
Everybody.
White women.
Right. That
Asian.
could be everybody.
Yeah.
Or we'll do it for Black people. But that could be anybody. They could
people of color.
Yeah, people of color.
Yeah.
They never want to do anything specifically for this specific group, and that's what we're realizing. So now we're getting real strict with the terminology.
Yes, sir.
And that's really scaring a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because now you're realizing, okay, man, how much we really depend on this group of people. So, and these are the people that we really owe. These are the people, the white government, they can't send us anywhere.
Yeah.
Because we built here, there was no United States before us. The Black immigrants, they don't have that same type of connection or plight that we have with this land. So
that's right.
Yeah, man, it's important, you know. So a lot of people get nervous.
That's deep. Yes, sir. Tangibles. Love hearing you talk about that. What tangibles, or what does tangibles look like for FBA for us right now in 2022? What does that look like?
Reparations.
Yes, sir. Please talk about that.
Payments.
Yes, sir. Look, what'd you say? Cash App at Quick Trip?
Listen, cash. Listen, man. The government, if you listen, I take my reparations in the form of Cash App payments. anything you want to do.
What, Zelle, Venmo?
Zelle, PayPal. Direct the same way you gave everybody them stimulus checks. I'll take it the same way. I'll meet you at the Quick Trip gas station. I'll pick my check up. So it don't matter. But it starts with reparations, man, in the form of cash payments. I want the same thing the Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans got. I want the same thing you gave to European Jews. I want the same thing you gave to Japanese who were put in internment camps for 2 years. I want that same thing, okay? My ancestors built one of the greatest countries the world has ever seen economic-wise.
Yes, sir.
You know, so we want that same benefit. We want that cash payments, and we want to do with it as we see fit. You know, some people say land. land is cool, but after we get our cash, because they'll give us some land on a chemical waste field somewhere and say, hey, man, we'll get you some land. I don't want no education or school. That means nothing to me. I already got my education. And our people shouldn't be forced to go to school. You know, that shouldn't be their reward. So give me the cash payment. I'll take with my cash and do with it as I see fit. If I want to go to school, then I use that cash to go to school. I use that cash to get land. So it starts with reparations in the form of cash payments.
Hey, I'm with you 100,000%.
Absolutely.
What retort would you have for, you know, people they could be Haitian, they can be any type of Black immigrant who can come over here and say, well, my people, they worked way harder. They came over here with nothing. We were able to open up all these businesses and stores. Y'all are on welfare, food stamps. Y'all don't work hard enough. Now, us knowing that we pretty much built this thing.
Right.
Been working, been grinding. We've had great civilizations. Not only that, even recently, whether you can go to the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, we've always had great entrepreneurs, inventors, minds. But what would Brother Chase say to, you know, some person who would approach you and say, Black people just lazy, don't work hard enough?
Two things. Number one, got to look at your homeland. If it was just about hard work, you can work hard anywhere. I tell people this all the time.
Yeah.
Your Haitian parents, they didn't just start working hard when they came here. They were working hard in Haiti. It wasn't popping.
That's deep.
You see what I'm saying? It wasn't popping. No disrespect, but it wasn't. They were working hard in Jamaica. It's not popping. Working hard in Nigeria wasn't popping.
Yeah.
You came here because of that fertile soil that we laid out. And then your hard work meant something because all the fighting we did, all the marching we did, all the building we did. So you can come over here and you can get the seeds from that fertile soil and you can use that to grow. So that's important to understand. If it was just about hard work, you can work hard anywhere. We would see that in Jamaica. We would see that in Haiti. We would see that in Nigeria. Also, a lot of people have to understand that there is nothing any Black immigrant group is doing that we haven't already done.
Man,
I tell brothers and sisters this all the time.
Yeah. A
lot of times I hear a lot of bragging about, well, we go to school, brother. We built the school. We went to the school. We done the school thing. I mean, we've been there, done that. I mean, some of the stuff that I'm hearing is just so ridiculous. We come here and we buy houses. Foundational Black Americans have been living in houses. In fact, our houses were bombed. And we built them back again. Down there, every generation of foundational Black American has been a house owner at some point in time.
That's a fact.
So it's nothing that any Black immigrant or any immigrant group is really doing that we haven't already done and helped to pave the way for. So a lot of times, you know, I understand brothers and sisters are coming here and, you know, you're coming here from Haiti where sometimes you might not have running water. So when you come here and get running water and you get an apartment, it feels good and you
luxurious.
Right. It feels like luxury. But we've been there doing that already. You know what I'm saying? We were doing that hundreds of years ago. So it's not really a thing for us. So, you know, that's important to understand, man. Again, like I said, if it was about hard work, your country would look better. Two, there's nothing they're doing that we haven't already done. A lot of times as well, what they do is they'll come here, they'll get something and compare themselves to somebody in the project, which is disingenuous. That's disingenuous. If I was to take something and get it and compare myself to somebody living in the slums of Haiti, all Haitians would be mad. And they'll say, wait, man, why you ain't comparing yourself to Kodak Black or something? You know what I'm saying? Jack Boy, somebody like that who got money. But they'll take their wealth that they get when they come here and go over to the projects. They'll go over to Bankhead or something and find the lowest of the low and then say, hey, man, I'm doing way better than you. I mean, come on, man. That's a disingenuous argument. So, you know, it's just a part of the game, but we're starting to call that out now. We've been seeing that for a long time. We're starting to call that out. And as foundational Black Americans, we know we are the culture.
Yes, sir.
You know, and other groups, if they're honest, they'll tell you this. So, you know, that's why everybody's here.
Man, heavy gems.
Absolutely.
One of my last few questions, bro. Phenomenal conversation again, man. Voice of the Ancestors, multiple parts. Bro, you could have just stopped at part one. What inspires you to just keep creating them and just keep going? What inspires that for you?
Well, actually, brother, it was originally supposed to be one book.
Wow.
Right. So I wrote all the book from 2016 to 2019. Excuse me, from 2016 to 2018. I wrote the book. It was supposed to be one big book. I took it to my guy that I had help publishing. He was like, man, nobody finna read no 800-page book. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Hey, you had a Bible, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a Bible. And the crazy thing is I'm not even really considering myself a writer.
Wow.
And I'm just like, man, I'm getting all these thoughts that are in my head. It was really kind of a form of meditation. When you got all these clustered thoughts in your head and you just trying to get them on paper, and it's like you can take a deep breath.
Therapeutic somewhere too.
Right, therapeutic, exactly. So when I gave it to him, he was like, man, you need to split this into parts. So shout out to my cousin, actually gave me that gem.
Wow.
So I actually split it into parts, and I'm glad I did that because I'm learning more and more every year. So even when I start releasing the book, I'm still studying now.
I love that.
I'm still reading now.
Yes, sir.
So now I can go back and correct it. So I released volume 1, and by the time it was scheduled for volume 2 to come out, I had changed most of the stuff in the book.
Wow.
I looked and said, oh, no, that was completely wrong.
Wow.
Which was a good thing. It gave me time to grow into
That's
it.
right.
Because sometimes when you're new into the knowledge, you wet behind the ears.
Yeah.
You just saying stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why the elders have to spank you sometimes. Like, you do not know what you're talking about at all. So, released volume 2 in 2020, released volume 3 in 2021. But all these books were previous. The foundation of the book was written previously. And I just, did a little editing a little bit in my newest book, 19 White Men Who Admitted They Were Indigenous Black People in Americas. That was a part of my note series. So these were all the notes that I was acquiring over the years, and I actually had more, but I just decided to do 19. Shout out to 19 Keys.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I decided to get some of that energy, and that was, like I say, part of my note series. So just growing, and I got more. Got another book series coming out as well. We're going to do a tribute to J.A. Rogers.
That's huge.
Who was a master teacher of his
sir.
time. So we're going to do the 500 amazing facts about the Negro. So
I love
we're going
that.
to take the game. He gave us 100.
Yeah.
I want to take the ancestors' work even farther, and we're going to give him 500. So, we're very excited about
That's
that.
hard.
That should come out next year. So
Man,
absolutely.
Hey, I'm ready for that one.
Absolutely. I appreciate
Yes, sir.
it, man.
Yes, sir. Also, bro, as well, for all the young writers out there, authors who want to get started, what words of advice would you have for them on just getting started on that book right now?
Right. Take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time, man. It's easy to start off because everybody's decided. You done told all your friends, you done told your parents, everybody hyping your head up.
Yeah.
But after week 1, it's kind of just, it gets to business. After week 2,
that excitement starts to throw down.
And then it's just up on the shelf at that point. After about 3 weeks, it's just up on the shelf. So be consistent, do a little bit every day. 1 paragraph at a time. That's what I started off with. 1 paragraph a day. 1 paragraph a day for about a week, 2 weeks. Then I worked my way to 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 1 page, 3 pages a day, 5 pages a day. So, just taking it in steps. And being consistent. The biggest thing is being consistent day after day. Because like I say, man, I was doing it when nobody knew who I was. I didn't have no 100. I got 200-some thousand followers on Instagram now. It wasn't nobody hyping me up. It was just me, a piece of paper and a piece of pencil. You know what I'm saying? A pencil. So that's important to do. Stay consistent, man.
Yes,
and once you stay consistent, this is something you can eat off of. This is something that's your legacy for the rest of your life. Your great grandkids, they might never meet you, but they got your work. They got your work. So that's important to understand, man. Being consistent.
Wow. Powerful, brother. Very last question, man. Where do you see Brother Chase within the next 5 to 10 years and upcoming projects as well?
Man, next 5 to 10 years, I think I want to be done writing books by the age of 30. So I'm 27 now. So within the next 3 years, I plan on putting out a book series about foundational Black Americans, our history, as well as like the series I just told you, 500 Amazing Facts About the Negro. Yeah. But and then transitioning from my early 30s into documentaries. Also plan to probably be married or something like that. Have some kids. You know, I remember reading Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, and she was talking about Black man shouldn't have kids till he's like 35, and I didn't understand it.
I
at
get
the
it.
time, but I see it now. I see it now.
I'm taking my time as well.
Right. Taking my time as well, because I'm like, man, listen, the rate I'm in, I ain't gonna make it to 21. You know what I'm saying?
I'm still learning.
Right.
You still learning.
Absolutely. But I'm seeing it now. So definitely probably want to have, a queen, some kids.
I love that.
Getting into the legacy part of it as well, and then getting into the physical. My family has a lot of land in Mississippi, so I'm at the stage where I'm trying to get that land. Take advantage of that land, because after a while, a lot of Black folks are losing their land to eminent domain.
That's right.
This is land that's been in the family hundreds of years, but nobody's doing nothing with it.
Yep.
So, you know, it's hard right now because the land split between 30 people and
Oh man, yeah.
family everywhere. And then everybody, man, I want 100,000, bro. This is not California. This
Facts.
is Mississippi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that land ain't worth that.
Yeah.
You know, so just trying to consolidate that land, get it under my name, and begin to build. I want to eventually open up my own school as well, have my books in my school, you know, so we can start teach the babies, because that's what it's about.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I'm already looking at. If we can have a young Chase, a young Caleb at a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, the sky's the limit.
That's a fact.
The sky's the limit. So just building, man. Building and working.
Yeah, man. Brother Chase, from the bottom of all of our hearts, bro, we appreciate you. Keep doing all the work. It's needed when you get tired, exhausted, discouraged. No, hey, we need you, and you are doing truly a phenomenal job,
much
man.
Love,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got to come back again, man.
Man, always welcome. Always welcome, bro. But it was like an absolute honor. I had a phenomenal time. We appreciate you. And again, keep up all the great work, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all tap in. Brother Chase, he's an amazing individual, man. Check out Voice of the Ancestors. All the volumes, man. Follow him on IG as well. Tap in, show love and support. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, blessed be host Caleb Smith. And also, we cannot wait to see you guys soon. Peace.